Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Women Making Waves. Today I have Jamie Larson. She is the owner of the Lash Lounge in New Orleans. And I go to her, she's my lash tech. And I'm so excited because I remember when Jamie was completely independent doing this on her own. And not only did she open this franchise, she opened the franchise's 100th store location, which was a huge milestone, an amazing grand opening. So Jamie, let's jump right in. What motivated you to open your business?
Hi, guys. So basically for me, I've been lashing. I was actually initially introduced to lashing post Katrina.
Mm-hmm.
As you could imagine, that long ago, 15 years ago, lashing lash extensions were so different. Fast forward to about 7 years ago, I went to a retraining in Houston and I really dove right into it. New Orleans is filled with mom and pops, and it's what New Orleans is used to. Well, I remember being on on a plane to Jamaica with my partner, in life and in business now. But he always looks at the entrepreneur magazines, and I had seen this, big, huge lash franchise, that had come into the market. And I was like, one day, like, this really, really needs to come to New Orleans. Like, New Orleans needs something like this. Well, I wasn't really ready for it then, and I'm glad I didn't dive into it then because, for the past, after that, so for about 5 years, I dove into the fitness industry, pre-sales to opening, as a general manager, the first to market Orange Theory in New Orleans. Then I left there to do the same thing basically with the first to market Club Pilates. Both were first to market franchises in New Orleans. And a franchise is such a great thing. And I learned so much from both of those companies, having worked with the franchisors and, the owners and their corporate offices, of what really, what differences it makes to really have that backing of a franchise. Now, the one thing that I also learned was New Orleanians aren't really that fond of franchises
Mm-hmm.
because they feel like it's just the next, kind of commercial thing coming in, and they really want to support local businesses. Well, the two things that I really learned with Orange Theory versus Club Pilates, one having been owned by a local owner and one having not been. And I do really think it's important for me in New Orleans, having, born and raised, to be a local owner of a franchise.
Mm-hmm.
It's just really good checks and balances. Training, having been a lash artist for over 7 years, well, really longer, but I kind of mark my true training for me being a lash artist. With there being mom and pops, unfortunately, there are no laws or regulation in the lashing industry in the state of Louisiana. So you don't have to be a cosmetologist or an esthetician. You don't have to even go to any legit certification or training. You can order supplies on Amazon and create a Facebook page and say that you're a lash artist.
Wow.
Over the years, I have seen, and there are many great lash artists in the city of New Orleans that are doing things properly, and they're great. But there are also a lot more that aren't, and I've seen some really bad work over the last 7 years. And so it's just something I knew one day that I wanted to open something that I would really help to try to educate people on lash extensions, because you only have two eyes.
Yes.
So
I actually met Jamie in that capacity because I had such terrible lashes on. And now looking back, I'm like, what was I thinking? Like, I didn't
right.
ask why this person thought she was certified to put my eyes were like clumped, they were uncomfortable, and you had to like remove them before you could even,
Yeah.
like, yeah.
Yes. And I've done this to so many people. And the reaction that I get once I, repair is, oh, wow, you don't even feel them.
Exactly.
No, you're not. You're not supposed to. I mean, if they're not trained properly, that means they're not cleaning their instruments
Mm-hmm.
properly. That means the risk of infection, and just so the list goes on and on and on of things that can truly happen in the process of getting lash extensions done. So I think to me, that was a huge thing of what and why I really wanted to bring lashing, kind of to the masses, to the forefront of the masses. And what better way to do it than finding an amazing franchise that I interviewed myself, and I did all the research and talked to so many owners from other locations around the U.S. and I met all the founder and the training team, and it was so exciting for me to then kind of start on that journey of bringing the first franchise lash studio to Louisiana. I like bringing franchises and helping
I was gonna say you are
franchises
like the
for the
franchise
market.
queen. Yeah. Which I think is great because when we talk about entrepreneurship, people always think that they have to start something from the ground up. And that's great. But there's also so many, like you said, checks and balances that help you along the way when you have a franchise where you can still input yourself, but there's a proven method behind you. So you don't have to reinvent the wheel or try to come up with something else. Um, but while that is great, what would you say are some of the challenges of opening your business or franchise?
So, I've been really lucky that with the Lash Lounge, um, the owner, Anna Phillips, who's from Dallas, who is, a mother and kind of created this thing many years ago, and then was fortunate enough to meet someone to help her franchise. I've connected with them so well, and our vice president and president, that they've trusted me when I've kind of wanted to go off kilter a little bit, to say, like,
Mhm.
look, I think New Orleanians, for instance, a campaign that we had just run during Valentine's Day, we were the only location out of, now that I think there are 109 locations that wasn't running the corporate Valentine's marketing suite.
Wow.
So I know that in New Orleans, people don't really pay attention to Valentine's because it's right in the middle of Mardi Gras.
Exactly.
So they helped me create a whole campaign around getting carnival ready and, mask your eyes for the ball with eyelash extensions. And we were so successful in this campaign. So I think it's really important, especially in a city like New Orleans, to feel with your franchisor that you will be able to do things more directed to your market specific.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the past with the fitness franchises that I had run into a little bit was, it's great. Like, we shouldn't start this fitness, weight loss challenge starting January 1st, because in New Orleans, you're right in the middle of Carnival. So
Mm-hmm.
it's better, and people really start their fitness programs for Lent, right? And so I would get pushback on that, and they were never as successful. And then we finally tested it, and it was amazing. So I
Mm-hmm.
think, like, when you're looking for a partner, I mean, it should be a partner, whether it's with a franchise or a partner in business anywhere. You really have to have trust, and you have to really feel comfortable that the person that you're teaming up with really, like, you look at them and trust them, that they're going to help guide you, as well as they're going to trust your input and want to help you grow, and kind of understand that you should know your market
Right.
better than anyone.
Right.
I think that's also where New Orleanians don't really understand. I think they are more now, but they don't really understand that franchises bring so much. You know, we always say
Mm-hmm.
that New Orleans is so far behind on the trends. And I
Yeah.
have so many friends that live all over the world. So I see these trends and I'm like, why are we always last to get things? Because
Right.
people in New Orleans try to protect their mom and pop so much. But a
Mm-hmm.
franchise in New Orleans owned by a local is, to me, it's a win-win.
Yeah. And so you manage your Lash Lounge, you manage your family, you have a new beautiful baby girl, but you're also a mother of two, you have your partner, and as mentioned, Carnival is a way of life here. She's a part of one of the most amazing clubs, the Pussyfooters. And that's a lot to juggle. But you never miss anything. How do you manage?
So I've actually really thought about this question, and I really don't know. I really don't know how I manage. I honestly
I don't
think
either.
I'm still trying to, I'm still trying to figure that out. I mean, you know, when I signed on and agreed to with the franchise, I didn't know that I was pregnant yet.
Right.
And then I found that I was pregnant. So it's kind of been a whirlwind, you know, and having the salon open and having an infant in there with me. I love bringing her with me to the salon. She comes with me quite often. I don't know now after, you know, this pandemic and how things are going to be, but
Right.
um, I think I was in the process of trying to figure all of that out when the pandemic, that way I can really focus just on, you know, having that glass of wine and spending time with my children. I have a 15-year-old son and a 1-year-old daughter. So they're in such different phases of their life.
Mm-hmm.
And I also know by having that age range that they grow so fast. So I've learned to kind of slow down a little bit when it comes to being home. And then, you know, with the Pussyfooters, they, so it's kind of like a sorority in a sense where you have certain amount of like service hours that you have to do. And there's a costume committee and, you know, there are things and events and stuff and dance practices. So I actually like the structure of it, that it forces me to say, I have to get 12 dance classes in, or I can't march in the parades, which is one of my favorite things to do.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes me, you know, 1 hour a week, I go and, you know, we're a group of 100 women, you know, from all walks of life, over 30, wonderful, beautiful women that inspire me. We support one another. You know, and it makes me take time for myself. And so then I'm able to kind of understand, you know, like if
Mm-hmm.
I didn't have this, what would I do? Like I need this
Right.
because this makes me be a better mom. And then my kids love, you know, my son's watched me costume his whole life. And my daughter already has costume pieces and little
Mm-hmm.
pussyfooter things.
Shoes
So
and socks.
it helps me to show my children that you don't have to be so serious in life. You know, you can enjoy yourself and have fun and also still be a business owner and be very respected in your community. But you can also put a wig on and a corset and march down the streets of New Orleans, you know, and have fun.
Right. And if there was anything you could redo or change about this process, what would it be?
So I think my one redo, which I hope that once we open a second location, I'll actually be able to start doing this again. You know, so along this process, actually one of my favorite outlets was lashing, right? It's how I've gotten to know you and become, you know, such good friends with you. And my lash clients that I had personally for years, they're some of my closest friends and confidants and, you know, these amazing women. And unfortunately, starting the business, I now have 6 lash stylists working for me. I just started training 2 additional ones right before the pandemic. So I'll have 8 lash artists. We have over 100 members. I can't do everything. So I'm managing the salon. I am the local salon trainer as well. So I went through all of the certifications within the franchise to be able to train my staff. So I've had a transition from a lash artist myself to more of like an educator, a mentor. And I love those roles. But I do miss being able to lash. And I do, but not, anything like I was before.
Right.
So I think my focus on opening additional locations, having put at that time more managers in place so that I can step back and just get back into the craft and the art of lashing more. Whether it's, I just have a few clients or just helping to educate and mentor my girls,
Mm-hmm.
but I don't, it's a time, that time commitment where I don't have, 4 hours a day of my time just to lash. And
Yeah.
I definitely miss it.
Well, I know I miss you in our therapy sessions when I'm getting my lashes done.
Exactly.
But thank you so much, Jamie. You already know I was so proud of you when this happened, but just to see how of an impact you've already made in New Orleans and how successful the Lash Lounge is. I know your words today definitely have to help someone who is thinking about opening that franchise, doing it somewhere where it may not be easily received. And so you guys, I have all of Jamie's information below. Go check out the Lash Lounge. If you have any questions, she's super helpful. I know she'll be able to walk through with you if she can find the time.
Oh yeah,
Things
I
to
have
think
plenty of time
about.
right now.
Well, yeah, we all do. Yeah, you're right. But things to think about. I think franchising is something that people don't talk a lot about, and I don't know why. It seems like an amazing, obviously approved method. So,
It
Jamie, thank
is.
you
If
for
you
joining
have
us
a
today.
passion for something and you've really wanted to do it and you have a gut and you know your market and you know that this will go well, do it. It's worth the risk.
Yes, thank you. It's worth the risk, y'all. Just go do it. Because what else do we have to do right now?
Right. Exactly.
Well, thank you for joining us today, Jamie. I really appreciate it.
Thanks so much.